Dark Deity. It's a game I played for like
A
4
while.
months. It's a game that we have opinions about.
But since it's such a new game and it's only on the 1.5 patch, it's time to do a little bit of a retrospective on it, maybe.
So anyway, we have a cursor here. We have videos here. I really could not think of a more elegant way to do this than to actually just re-watch the local recordings of my stream. Not all the way through, obviously. We'll skip around a lot. But I think mechanically, a good thing to focus on first, as I find a good place to, you know, define this. This is a good little thing right here. Yes. The armor type weapon thing mechanics of the game are super good. It's a very good system that gets around having a weapon triangle, but making the systems work well.
And that's something that this first map actually does a decent job of showing, because you have access to 4 different types of weaponry with your opening crew, and you can see what weapons work well against your opponents as you're going through and what weapons don't.
You can see that Alden is a beast.
Yeah.
And
it's just a good first map.
That's actually the first fantastic point to make. The first map is great for teaching you how to play Dark Deity and its unique mechanics that may be different from Emblem. The fact that Dark Deity doesn't have a forced tutorial, I think, is actually at its detriment.
Or, I mean, this is kind of like a tutorial, but it's just...
The tutorial is there in this menu. You have to delve into this menu.
Yeah, that's true.
And not every player that randomly picks up your game is going to do that. I just realized I did not have chat popped out. Give me a hot second here. Those ideas from chat would be fine and accepted in this.
Yeah, anytime people have an idea they wanted to talk over or suggest or something, I'm all ears.
So yeah, just organizing
Unless it's the same thing over and over and over again, in which case we're going to ignore it, because
yes,
there's only so many times we can say, yeah, Benji's awesome, we know.
Anyway, not everybody knows how to play a tactics game. They may randomly pick up your game because it looks neat, and there are definitely a good bit of this game, and even this game's unique mechanics that aren't explained in the game at all. And I 100% think that the game is at a detriment for that.
If you're like me and if you're someone who likes to just poke and prod all the different systems as you're going through it, it's not that big of a problem. Finding that stuff out can be kind of an enjoyable experience, but for people, I'm well versed in games like this, so I understand how to work with mechanics. If we're talking about a newer player, though, there should definitely be an easier way for them to go through a forced tutorial so that they can learn all these mechanics and systems.
100%. That said, on that note of teaching you mechanics and giving you the space to work with all your characters' various abilities, map 1, perfectly good for that. You have your bashing, you have your... there you go. You have all your various effective damage types here. And they give you the one that is good against each type. So, you have your crushing for your chainmail and your plate. You have your arcane. I never actually noticed before that arcane and crushing are the exact same type. Wow. Things that...
You can also see that slashing and fire are the same.
Huh. These are things that I legitimately never realized.
And holy and cleaving are the same.
Well, irregardless, you have 2 of these, and you have a slashing, and you have a piercing. So it gives you a lot of different tools to mess around.
Yeah, as shown by this thing, there are 4 different pairs of weapon types that do the same thing on every single type all the way through. The only one that's different is piercing. It's its own unique baby.
Yes. But yeah, it's a good map. Oh. Damn, I caught a brief freeze frame of it. Hey, one thing I will say about this game, never change the bass boosted mace hits.
They should always be as loud as possible.
It is the funniest thing, consistently. But yeah, I don't think there's too much more to say about map 1.
That one's fine. A lot of it was
fine.
just setting up the setting and all the story and what have you with it. Newbie and I should mention this, and we're going to mention this a couple times through. We are not writers. We are not the best people ever when it comes to writing stories or plots or whatever, but we can at least give an idea on it just because it's something we notice as we are going through.
Yes.
We might not be able to give the best ideas like this is how we would fix it, A, B, C, and D and all that stuff, but at least pointing out some different issues that we saw along the way.
So, Map 2 does exactly what your Map 2 should do, because since there are 6 base class units, it gives you the other 2 base classes.
Yep.
At the time of me playing this, but since they have fixed this, Disarm and Chain have become much more useful for using.
I'd say all of them become more useful because the opportunity cost for using them rather than shooting someone is reduced.
Yes, because, you know, they all give experience now. They did not at the time of me first playing this, but by the end, they did because of patches and what have you. Again, one thing that I actually adore about... that is a thing to bring up about the armor type stuff, and I will point that out now. It's not as bad of a thing in the early game, but it does start to become a noticeable annoyance later on, is that enemies seem to just wildly change what armor types a class will have.
As I was going through hard mode, there are a couple times I noticed on yours compared to mine that I think they've fixed a few of those in the different patches and stuff, but there are a couple enemies that you fight early on that have the wrong armor types, and that did bug me. And throughout the whole story.
It does, because it's almost like these classes are built to be countered in a specific way, but when you just change their armor type for no discernible reason, it changes how you approach that situation. Yeah, he's being loud.
Having a time, yeah.
It changes how you approach those situations in a way that doesn't necessarily feel interesting half the time.
And it just seems like it's actually just there to mess with you and like, hey, you checked all the armor types before you started the map, right? Right?
You checked literally every single enemy instead of just using the sprites, right?
Yeah, and that's really when it is an issue, and that's definitely something where, and I'll bring this up several times, if they're going to do that, I don't mind if they do it so long as they give you a heads up in some sort of text beforehand of, hey, these guys are a lot more heavily armored than normal, or like you're fighting the elves in the forest, like they're not wearing as much heavy armor as you normally would expect for these kinds of classes. To give an idea of, oh, maybe the elves are wearing a lot more leather compared to plate and chain or something like that, or if you're fighting like full plate units, there are going to be a lot more people who are wearing chain and plate compared to leather or even cloth. So like you could definitely give a heads up about that.
Right. So Map 2. Let's talk about Map 2 in actuality. Map 2's...
I really like it.
Yeah. One thing that I will actually note about Dark Deity is that for the most part, each map has a bit of a gimmick. No two maps are really exactly the same, which does help to keep it feeling fresh. Map 2 is your defense map. Introduction to defense maps. Look, you can embrace violence as we all do. And as an aside, fantastic prizes await you if you embrace violence. You can get a stat up item very early on. I think it's a speed up too, so very useful.
Yes, it's a speed up, and Lincoln right after this map comes with an HP up, so you have 2 stat boosters after this map ends.
Right.
Can have 2 stat boosters, excuse me.
Now, again, it is a thing that is nerfed. I would have highly recommended, when this game first came out, immediately sell your stat boosters because you can buy 1 million weapon upgrades, which, again, the weapon upgrade system, very good, but more on that later when it becomes more relevant. But you can buy many weapon upgrade tokens, and that vastly outweighs the 2 stats that you would gain from using a stat up item, or 5 HP or whatever. They reduce the amount of money you get for selling items now. That is very understandable. It was entirely too worthwhile to sell stat up items most of the time.
Especially the ones early on. Later on, I usually just use stat items because it's whatever. I'm not getting much out of it. But early on, you get 3 or 4 stat boosters in the first like 5 or 6 maps, and you can sell all of those and get like 20,000 or 20,000 gold out of it. I forget what the number was originally. And that was more than enough to upgrade all of your weapons to at least the next tier up, if not another tier beyond that. For whatever characters you wanted to use.
I want to find Archer that's a problem.
Archer that's a problem is on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Archer on the mounted archer there on the right is an issue. There he is, top left.
Yeah. I was hoping that I would maybe mouse over and look at his numbers as
so
maybe
the
as
reason why the archer on the left is a problem is because unlike the two archers that are also a problem at the very beginning, you can kill them before they do anything. This guy is going to come in with a lot of backup at a very awkward angle, so he can deal an enormous amount of damage before you can deal with him, especially if you're being greedy, like me, and going for the boss and his flunky who have fabulous prizes.
Okay, still dealing with enemies here. I want to say I do take a look at Archer, that's a problem. Because I just want to show numbers. That's the big thing I'm looking for here.
I think, again, the big thing about him is that he's using, I believe he's using a heavy-hitting bow.
He is.
And that's, this early on can be an issue.
I mean...
Oh, this is the first map with Elias. I forgot about that.
Yes, Elias, who got a massive upgrade. I was going to briefly mention this, but I got distracted by other things. One of the major problems with this map originally was the fact that there was, you really only had 2 frontliners because Sia wasn't nearly dodgy enough yet, and Elias was not great as a frontliner. So you had Irving and you had Marin. They have since fixed this in making a lot of those characters better as frontliners.
The thing is, Elias didn't get any of his base stats changed, but he did get his growths changed. But he's still a little... not great early on, but they made it so that he can grow into being a better unit.
Okay, he was flat out killed, and I never found the part where I looked at him. So, one of the major problems I've found over the playthrough of Dark Deity is that archers kind of never stop being a problem. Archers are far and away one of the most dangerous units next to mages, because they just deal entirely too much damage, and there's no good way to approach them 9 times out of 10.
I will say that the Surge class in the Adept tree that has the range 3 lockdown can be very useful for locking down archers sometimes, because if you're getting in 3 spaces away to lock down an archer, usually the archer has buddies to back him up that can go murder your Surge. But it is nice to have a tool that you can use to lock an archer down at long range when they're getting closer, so that you can beat up his buddies and not have to worry about getting shot for 80 damage or something like that.
Right. But, long and short of it, aside from Archer, who was a problem, this map's fine. This map's very good. It's a good defense map. It's fun. Every time I played it, I kind of barely got through by the skin of my teeth, which always feels good. But not like in an unfair way. Like I felt like I was, okay, the talking begins. Bonds are good. I like most of the bonds.
Can we actually go back to the upgrades just to show off that upgrade? Yeah, right there, just for a second. I just really want to compliment the creators on this. I thought the whole power, finesse, focus, balance idea was a phenomenal idea.
Yes. You got to build characters around strengthening their weaknesses 9 times out of 10, or just going balanced because they're good all around and just need a light thing. Or that was a factor. If they were a very slow character but were accurate enough, you could build the balance weapon, which is generally the lightest weapon, and not take too big of a hit to true speed.
I recently went through on hard mode, and I think since I had to cut down the number of units I used because hard mode gives a lot less in terms of money, most of my people ended up using focus and then either a balance, finesse, or power weapon, because you really needed to have an accuracy weapon for a lot of this really dodgy enemies in this game that show up later on, even with the changes to the evasion stuff.
Which we'll get to.
Yep.
Just as a note, because it's no longer really a problem. Anyway, map 3. Again,
I really like map 3.
Keeping in the theme of map gimmicks, the entire gimmick of map 3 is you start at the top here. There are many bandits.
Many bandits await us.
You have 9 turns.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get
you
to the
don't have
boss
to kill all of them. You just need to. You could just hold at the front if you really wanted to, but you should totally go kill them.
If you can kill the boss down here, you get a setup item, and there are prizes for getting through. You know, EXP, a couple of tokens, some healing items. And yeah,
Good bits of stuff early on. Just lots of odds and ends that are just nice to have on the third map of the game.
Yep.
They gave you 2 extra units, which are really nice.
Yeah, 2 powerful units. Lincoln is a brick wall. Bianca will kill things. But they're also over-leveled, so it brings into a neat mechanic of using them to pull enemies in and maybe hurt them a little bit, and then letting your weaker characters sort of mop up the back.
Yeah, Lincoln on this map is only going to get 1 or 2 experience points for everything that he hits. He's definitely filling in the Marcus or the Osmond from Fire Emblem 7 roles. Bianca, she'll get some experience. She won't get as much as the rest of them, so don't feel bad if she murders somebody, because she will murder people. But really, this is just another map to get the other 6 up to speed, or at least whomever you want to use.
The other thing that I like about this map, with Marin in particular, Marin isn't a character that generally ends up being very... By the way, the Piercer has shown up on this map.
Yep.
God, I love Garrick and his obscene strength growth. But learning, this is the map that teaches you, okay, enemies also have damage types and will take advantage of them if they can, because you have been playing through the first 2 maps and go, Marin is a brick wall, nothing can hurt her. And then you walk into this map and enter the choppers, who will blow through her armor.
She's usually fast enough to not get doubled by these guys, but it starts to add up quickly when on all the other maps she was taking 2, 3, something like that damage.
Yeah. So, as stated, this is a very good map. Don't need to really say too much about it because it's still a very early on map. But it's fun because it's like, okay, the enemies are dangerous here, but you have to... Yeah, wait, actually, we had a good shot right there. Yeah, of her taking 8 damage, which is high for her, and this is from this guy.
Yeah, the duelists, which are pretty dangerous. When you're jumping around like this, can you just have play on while you do it, or does it have to be on pause? Yeah, just so that we have moving stuff. Keeps it a little bit less herky-jerky.
Okay. Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. Bianca is just very powerful. Gets the job done. And yeah, okay, there you go. There's a perfect shot there of she can take 13 damage here.
Yeah. Now, the good thing about Marin is if she gets hurt, she just needs to find someone else who's hurt and heal them, and she'll heal herself at the same time.
Exactly. But, again, we don't need to stay on this map too long because this is a pretty lengthy map.
It's just, it was a good map just to... this is actually a good thing about this map to point out. This is the first map that enemies have their full movement range on. The first 2 maps, the enemies' movement range is halved, I think.
It's
small. This one, they can, yeah, it's reduced at least. On this map, they've definitely moved it up to their full extent. So you're really having to pay attention to how far enemies move, because they will, as soon as you get in range, immediately try to jump you. Unlike the previous map, which enemies were always moving towards you no matter what, or the first map, where they weren't moving, but if they had such a reduced movement range that it would, most of the time you're engaging them first anyway.
So sliding along, we jump into map 4. I'm going to pause right here to just express initial thoughts. I like this of gaining characters mid-map. It's always a fun thing to have in Emblems, because there could be problems on the map, looking at the whole left side of this map, that you can get a character on that map that fixes that problem.
Both of them fix the problem. They're both kind of specialized in the problem on this map.
Yeah. Sophia, very good at killing mages. She gets very high fortitude growth. And Sophia... Sorry.
Sloan.
Sophia, who over here. Sloan here. Who's just kind of great.
Sloan is more of the magic buster of the mages. She's got a very high fortitude growth. So that's why both of them showing up on each side is great, because it doesn't matter which way you go, you'll always have at least one unit, if you pick them up, that's great against mages.
Elias is good. Not bad.
I mean, you have a couple other people on your team who are also very good at dealing with mages. Sia's very good at dealing with mages. Bianca will just tear them apart.
The baby.
But you also have a couple... Yeah, the baby. But you have a couple people that need to avoid mages at all costs, and Irving, because he will die very quickly to some of the mages on this map, since his fortitude growth is hot trash, and he's probably slow enough that some of them might actually double him, or he just doesn't have enough evasion to dodge reliably.
Also, as a subtle sort of tutorialization, for lack of a better word, this is a good map for teaching you of, okay, you're gonna need to have to split your force if you want to get maximum rewards here. Think about who you're sending where.
Yeah, certain people do have good synergies together, not based on bonds or anything like that, but just because their classes work well together.
Yes. Aside from that, not too much more to talk about on this map.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about you get Sloane, you get Sophia. This is another good map just to show you how to deal with different armor types and just your people growing. And this is also the map where you probably start to look at, all right, my people are about to promote.
Yep.
In fact, I think one of your people promoted towards the end of this map. Was it Irving? No, I don't think. I think they got really close, but didn't quite make it.
No, I think Irving did. I think this is when we got...
Oh, he probably beat the boss up and got it there.
This is where we got two-hander. Yes.
Yep, here we go.
Which, okay, let's talk about the promotion system. It's great. Everything about this screen is fantastic. Tells you exactly what's happening to your growths. Gives you the skills, and the fact that you can mix and match promotions to kind of build your own class is really neat.
And also, 4-tiered promotion system rather than just you're caught on one thing.
Yes.
Choose your own adventure.
I 9 times out of 10 do kind of just go the straight canon promotions because I don't like to think too hard, and they generally synergize very well with each other. Looking at Dragoon into Dragon Knight. But yeah, no.
I did a little bit of mixing and matching on the hard mode run, but most part of the time I was trying to see what the differences were between your run and the 1.5 edition.
Oh, you know what? There was this, and it's hard to find an exact moment of this, but I'm remembering now one thing that I actually wish the game would fix. The fact that you can't look at what an enemy, the item an enemy is holding does. That is a very annoying factor, because when enemies are holding stat-up items, you can't see what that stat-up item does.
Mm-hmm. There is actually one thing I wanted to point out that's not necessarily a problem, but it's just, it'd be nice if they showed it. When you hit a promotion level 10 or level 30, you do get stat gains on that level. It just doesn't show you it because you go straight to the promotion screen. So it'd be nice that before or after promotion, they showed you you got pluses to this, and this, so you don't just look at it and go, wait a minute, why did my strength or speed go up, or was I supposed to gain setups here? It was just a little off, and it'd be nice to see that. Again, that's a super minor quibble, but hey, what's a retrospective? We got to talk about these things.
Sorry, I was oh god damn it. There we go. Sort by name. There we go.
That green rug looks like a skull. I think it's more that green rug is just falling apart.
Anywho.
Next map, I believe. Which I believe you might have to go to the next video for it, yeah.
Alright, I just need to make sure that transfer happened smoothly. Yes, okay, it's capturing well on the stream. Herky-jerkied a little bit on my side, like moved the window around, so I just gotta adjust that real quick. Okay.
Yeah, that happens occasionally, but that's okay. Also, for the people who are jumping in who might be like, oh, yeah, we're going to talk about this here in a second. Yeah, we're going to talk about most of the characters here. We'll go down a list of them towards the end of the video, but we're just going through the maps first.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about the and we'll talk about it when we see another character that promotes, but the rogue upgrades. Stalker is interesting. I actually, now looking at this, I feel like it's kind of on the weaker end of these. Mainly because
cruel efficiency better.
Yeah, they make cruel efficiency better, so it does work a lot better now. I just don't think Fatal definitely saved my butt once or twice. I just don't think I hold it in as high value as I previously did. Thief is fantastic. Thief and the Trickster is great. Disarm 5 is wild.
Disarm 3 is wild.
Disarm 3 is wild. Disarm 5 is gross.
Yeah, but having Disarm 3 on a person early on, especially just Brooke on this map, if you made her a thief and all she did was use Disarm over and over and over again, that would be fine, because having someone who can just consistently say, you're not doing anything this turn is phenomenal.
Duelist is super fun. It is great to have a unit that just never dies.
It's weird because duelists are horrible at fortitude, so their magic defenses are hot trash, but they are great at dealing with physical classes. Yep. If their evasion doesn't hold up though, and they run into a magic user, they might explode real fast. So keep an eye on them. And then the Raider class, I still don't get how this class works. I tried really hard to use it.
It's again, they are an Alpha Strike class. They are they are built to like. Let's see if we can see the. There we go.
Yeah, ambush and pillage.
Hold up, I just want to see the. There we go. I want to see the growth difference here. They have very low defenses, but it's mainly that they have very high strength. So they're.
I don't think it's necessarily they have low defenses, and more that Brooke just has low defenses.
Maybe. Again, it's hard to compare these across when you're only looking at one character.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, yeah, Brooke is kind of set up the same way What's His Face is. Ren, the two of them are supposed to be the more dexterous people, and not so much on the what's a defense.
I'm more looking at how the numbers are changing.
Yeah.
But yes, they're supposed to have very high strength, so they are supposed to go in and with ambush, and then eventually, I think it's like, I forget what the upgrade on this one is called, but they're meant to go in there and just hit them once very, very hard.
Yeah. They're the opener for most of your crew coming in, or they could just one-shot people.
Also, because they generally have very high attack, and they are an axe type, they are kind of tank busters.
Yes. Usually, if you are sending them against a tank buster, the first hit knocks them down low enough that the second hit can finish them off.
Exactly.
And they're usually fast enough because they're based on the rogue class that most tanks that they're going after, they will double. Or at least you can have a weapon on them that can double tanks, because you can have a balance axe, or I think the crit axe is kind of lightweight. I forget which one it is.
Yeah. Moving
Sorry, our knowledge of what all the different like weights and stuff with the weapons, that's not going to happen, guys. We play the game, but it's been a minute.
Okay, there we go.
Magic.
We've hit growths.
Wizards.
We have hit something. This is okay. Hold up. It gets a little hard.
While you're going through that, I'm going to go over something here real quick. Something we needed to mention real quick. Sarah here, also along with Brooke and Samara, are the first characters that show up that are already promoted. So you'll be able to see their stats by going through all the different classes while you're doing it to see, okay, if I make them a battle mage, their stats are going to look like this. If I make them an arcanist, their stats are going to look like that. Mm-hmm. And it was very nice to be able to easily look at that and jump back and forth and go, all right, based on this, I want them to be this class because I think I want a high defense magic class or what have you.
So, let's go down to things. Fight mage. It does its job. It's
Arcanist is boom.
It is the Jeff of mages, but it does exactly what it needs to do.
It hits really, really hard. Arcanist's job is to hit really damn hard.
Yeah. Battle mage is a concept that I adore. I think it's so good. Tank mage is such a great idea.
Also, tank mage has access to lightning, which is kind of a rare thing to get access to. There's only two classes that do it. Well, two. Yeah, close enough, but only two routes that take it. And lightning can be very useful for breaking through certain armor types. It's a good combination of having a lightning plate user.
Mm-hmm. Conjure is your Jeff, but spelled with a G. Mm-hmm. It's there to do damage and nothing else. But it's also kind of a weirdly turnways tank, since it has its strain mechanic, which has been nerfed, but still
not
gets
enough.
Mileage.
Not enough.
Yeah, exactly. Not enough. It still gets way too much mileage. And now let's talk about the MVP.
Yeah, the Magician class is so good.
Magician into... I forget what this is called.
Illusionist.
Is fantastic. The warp upgrades let you do the shapes. Mm-hmm. It gets to be so much fun.
I was actually curious about this because I made two people magicians as I was going through. I made Sarah magician, I made Sloane one. I dropped Sarah halfway through, but I still used Sloane's magician to illusionist. There were maps where Sloane never shot someone, save for maybe one or two retaliations, but all she was doing was moving people around and giving them their aura, because magicians have one of their passives is they give everyone an accuracy buff.
It's so
within
good.
2 spaces over. It's at first I thought it was a 20% boost to their accuracy. No, they just get a 20% addition to whatever they have, just a flat add-on, and that is so good.
As well, phase 3 is
when we get to illusionist.
It's just 5 extra movement that you could hand somebody.
And it allows people to get over walls and get into odd positions or around enemies that are blocking in certain ways, so that if you have an enemy that's in the back that you need to make sure dies, you can go get them. Or there's archers up on a platform that you can't get to normally, you can go get them. Having extra phase really can shake entire maps up, where it just gives you so much flexibility that even if the class did nothing besides move you around, it would be worth it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's it for... Oh, no, wait, sorry. Let's talk about the cleric upgrades. Inquisitor is supposed to be magic tank. I put Lincoln in this, and he became everything tank.
Well, Lincoln was already a physical tank, so he just made him a tank across the board.
Yes. Great. I adore its pseudo buffing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. Guardian, fantastic. I always take a mounted healer, and its regen mechanic is actually really dope.
I think it almost is too strong in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Because it lets you set it and forget it.
I think the regen should only stick around for another turn or two. I think it sticks around for 3 turns, and that's way too much time,
yeah,
I think.
The way it works is that their base healing is cut into a third, but they heal for 3 turns.
Mm-hmm.
The Paladin getting unkillable is so dumb.
We'll get there. We'll get to Indomitable in
Indomitable is so stupid, and it
was also the combination of being on Vesta, so it's just, nope, she's never gonna die.
Well, Samara also had those moments of just being wildly unkillable because she just got to half health and just, oh wait, my defenses are outrageous now. Priest into, I don't know, Bishop. I can never remember what the tier 3 classes are called.
Saint or something? I forget.
This is the passive buff class, in that it buffs the passive, with the passive being heal, increasing the range of heal to range 3.
It's profit.
Range 3 heal, if you go linear, is stupid.
Yes. Especially because Samara here comes with the artifact, and we'll talk about artifacts here in a bit, or icon, or whatever the heck they're called. Aspect. That gives a big boost to healing in general. So if you have it on a long range healer, they're going to heal most people from almost dead back to full in one shot.
From a mile away. And then DPS healer, Acolyte.
I love the Acolyte.
Acolyte is there to be a harm assist.
Also, should point out, the Priest and Acolyte are the only classes in the game that are holy element.
Yes.
So I would really, really suggest you have at least 2 people that are split, maybe 1 and 1, or hey, you can have 2 Acolytes, 2 Priests, do whatever the hell you want, that are in these classes to get access to ranged, excuse me, someone's horn's going off, ranged holy damage, or whatever the pair of the holy is with the physical things, just so that you have access to that. The Acolyte class in general, though, it's really good on a couple characters. I don't think it's built for all of the healers, but it definitely works for some of them.
And again, it has the same thing that the Fire Mage has that drain, can kind of be a pseudo tank if you need it to.
Yep.
Anywho, moving on. Okay, let's talk about one of the first problems in the game's map design. I like this map in concept of, like, okay, you're going in, you're swapping sides repeatedly, because, like, spoilers, like, there's 2 portals from here that go down here, and then 2 of these will go over to the other side of the map, and same likewise on the other side will go here. Hey, color blind.
So you can at least see it in action.
Sorry, color blind accessibility on this map is garbage.
Yeah, that was definitely something I looked at and went, they need to fix that. I don't know how you would easily do it. Maybe like with a number system or something.
Have a letter floating in the center of the portal.
Yeah, a letter floating in the center would actually be a really good idea. Something just that you can tell, like, hey, you got to go here. Like, I don't want this to be. This doesn't show up in many other maps. I think only maybe one other map has a color coding issue, but definitely in this one, the first thing I thought of was, I know people who are colorblind. They would have an issue with this.
Remember when Irving doubled?
Yeah, that was a good day. He's also going up against one of the slower classes in the game.
But yeah, so map-wise, not much more to talk about. This one introduces you to a lot of the other classes, like the promoted adepts.
Yeah, in which we'll see here in a second, because I believe Bianca is about to hit level 10. And so we can go through that stuff. Or might it be... Did Caius hit it first? Here? I think you're deciding between which person you want to murder. You don't go back and look at your maps or your playthrough afterwards, man. Sometimes you're going to be thinking like, what the hell am I doing?
But yeah, that is the major problem in this map. Aside from that, you know, it's a solid map. You know, split your team up, choose your battles accordingly.
You get 2 level 15 characters and 1 level 10 character on one side, so they can mop up anything depending on which people you bring along for the fun.
And because sides can be swapped easily, you can easily just send them over to the other side.
Yep. Sophia is also here to do some murdering.
Doing Sophia things. Sophia. Yeah, the undead units, which have movement. No, these don't actually...
not these guys. Some of them do, some of them don't. It's unclear when it kicks in.
It's always... Yeah, it's a little bit clear on this stuff, and we'll get to that in... We'll save one map specifically for... You could be a little clearer on what you do on various maps at times.
A running thing that I had not an issue with, but definitely something I would suggest for fixing it is there's some... Before the map starts, a little bit of a like heads up from some of the characters talking about certain aspects of the upcoming map would be really appreciated. And we'll get to that when eventually it shows up. But until then, that's fine. Here we go.
Bowman promotions. Archer. Shootgar.
What if you shot harder?
Archer base has a ridiculous accuracy upgrade in their like dex multiplication ability. It's wild. I made Garrick Archer Sniper, and he never missed.
Very rarely missed.
The Sniper upgrade of range 3 originally had problems. When they made it so you couldn't get countered, became much better.
Less problems. I figured out, we'll talk about when we get there, but I figured out what little mistakes they had in the coding on that one.
Anyway. We'll focus on you
Drifter,
last.
Man. We'll get back.
Strider into Wielder? I don't know if this one's called. Blade Dancer.
Blade Dancer.
Strider, it's a very neat class in that it's a speed class that wants you to build your heaviest weapon because Strider naturally halves the weight of a weapon. So you'll always go fast in this class.
The thing I like about Strider is they looked at the Myrmidons in Fire Emblem and went, let's make a class that still relies on doubling, but doesn't need to crit in order to murder somebody. So they gave the Strider the passive ability that their second hit dealt an extra amount of damage on top of it. So they really want to focus on this class always hits twice. Or you want to make sure your class always hits twice.
And now for the King Slayer of the Bowman classes, Witch Hunter into Green Knight.
Oh my god.
This class was good. They buffed it.
So I realized why they buffed it. The Witch Hunter is a specialist class. They're built to kill mages. And I think what they wanted to do was make it so that you could also use the Witch Hunter to fight anything besides mages, and they do a little bit more effective damage, or overall damage. So it wouldn't feel as awkward as it can be sometimes, trying to use a Witch Hunter to fight, like, a Drifter, or... you shouldn't go after plate units, usually their armor's too high, but some of the other classes so that it doesn't feel as terrible as it could be. That being said, they made it way too strong.
Yes.
On my run through, Sophia was my MVP from the moment I turned her into a Witch Hunter until the end of the game.
Yeah, the whole gimmick with Witch Hunter is A, they're a mounted archer. B, they're meant, as stated, they're meant to kill mages. They have the side effect of it turns their haste into a defensive buff, and much better defensive buff after the patch. Was originally at Witch Hunter a 20 defense buff. And
a 20% defense buff, and now they made it a 40%.
And Green Knight was a 20 fortitude buff, and they made it 40%.
Yeah, there were turns where I would actually have Sophia tap someone that's going to go run into a bunch of units and say, okay, defense is up, go have fun.
Yeah.
And someone could just wade into an enemy formation, and it didn't matter if they got hit, they would just shrug it off.
Silencing Shot, and I can't remember what the perk that you get on Green Knight, but they are built to destroy mages. That's it. They take any strength that a mage has and turns it against them.
Oh, it's Mage Bane. I was going to say Wizard Bane, but no, Mage Bane is half of the magic used against enemies' magic is added to the damage they take.
Yeah.
And then we got Drifter.
Okay, so Drifter, let's see if we can find, looking at Drifter in this.
Like the stat growth for it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so here we go. Oh boy.
Before.
50. Minus 20.
They changed Drifter a little bit. I'm going to pull up the
as you can see here,
changes.
If Sophia went into Drifter, she would have 100% luck growth. That means a +1 crit every time she levels. Ruthless and Outcast are, she gains bonus damage when she's alone, and Ruthless ups her crit damage, or vice versa, I can't remember. Similar buffs when you become a cowboy, which is a extra 50% on crit damage, and makes it so you ignore half of a unit's armor. This makes the Drifter class line the I will crit you and destroy your entire ass. Unfortunately, in Execution, because their strength growth is so low, this never happened, and Drifter became a very rough middle class, and I think it's Stalker. Stalker became a mediocre end class. It was good, you could do work with it.
It's Outlaw.
Outlaw, thank you. Stalker, I think...
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, Outlaw became like a mediocre end class. You could do work with it, but most other classes were better. It was mainly you would walk into a fight and you would look at it and you had like a 60% chance to crit, and you would dice roll and generally miss. It also didn't help that they had an okay dex growth, at least Sophia here in it has an okay dex growth and an okay mastery and a low speed, which generally end up meant they aren't very accurate.
They're not accurate and they aren't dodgy, so if they don't kill with their first hit, they die. Because
they have to use the axe weapon, which, speaking of weapon problems, the axe weapons generally ended up being very inaccurate, axes and hammers, so you generally had to build the accuracy ones. Means that you couldn't build the crit one for the Drifter, which is what that class would want.
But then they fixed some things.
Yeah. What was the exact buff that Drifter got?
They didn't get any changes to any of their class abilities. All they got was a 20% boost to their strength.
Yes.
Which is, when I say all, that's a big boost.
Yeah, imagine it, 70% growth right there as Drifter changes a lot. Because if they have the attack, that crit... So the problem was, I made a later character, Rose, Drifter, and even when she crit, she didn't one-shot characters as an outlaw.
Against characters that she was getting weapon advantage against as well. And that's a problem.
With that strength buff, it then becomes, yes, you will do the work. And as an outlaw, that becomes, even if you don't crit, you're still dealing a lot of damage with that armor removal. So now that elevates Drifter to, I'd say, a mediocre middle class, and Outlaw to, it's not high tier, but it's definitely up there, and if you wanted to mess around with this class, you would not feel bad doing it.
Yeah, you can. It's there. It's there to have fun with. You can pick one up. It won't be a detriment to have it.
I still think Drifter and Outlaw are some of the weaker classes in the game, but they're not awful now. They
couldn't do too many of the changes to it because of the changes to the accuracy evasion system.
Yes.
So I think there's going to be a lot more fine-tuning coming in it down the road.
I'd like to, at some point when I have the free time, play through this game again to see how the accuracy and evasion changes actually change how axes and hammers work.
It worked out fairly well, actually, for at least one character. I'll mention it when we get to her, but okay. I made one character an axe user, and she had a field day throughout the whole game.
Anywho, let's...
I still would suggest that if you're going to use any of the ranger classes, it would be Strider and Witch Hunter over the other two. Mega Archer is great, but with the buffs to Witch Hunter, they became ridiculous. And Strider is a Myrmidon that's good. And Drifter is all the bad things I hate about Myrmidons, so never going to use it. I have opinions about Myrmidons, okay? Shut up. We already mentioned, though, a couple things about this map. It was a good map. Save for the color coordination issues.
It's mainly the color coordination problem. I like the having to swap sides mechanic. That's fine.
I thought that was a really neat idea. There's Garrick with his 90% strength growth as an archer.
Yeah, I couldn't not make him the base archer when I saw 90% strength growth. It was hilarious.
I've seen him in all the other classes. Actually, he does fine in all of them. Here we go. We'll get to Gale. Can we save Gale? Can we save Gale until the end?
Okay. Okay, Blaze. Blaze was improved by upping its fortitude a lot. Because what Blaze is supposed to be is it's supposed to be the anti-mage. 100%. It has fire, which most enemy mages are rune cloak. So you're supposed to be able to blow up enemy mages, but it had the problem of having no fortitude, which they fixed that.
Yes. I made a Rima one on my hard mode run, which was on the 1.5. It was a game changer for him. He was a wonderful mage tank.
Which, let me say, Blaze into, I'll say Inferno because I can't remember. Firelord is hilarious because the gimmick of them is that they gain damage buffs. They gain buffs to power every time they kill, so you get to just watch these fire units just start rolling out of control, and it's never not funny.
The Blaze, I think, of all the classes, I think got the most overall buffs to it because they got a boost to how many chances their Heat Flash thing, which is their chance to deal extra damage ability is. They get more power on kills now. It was doubled from 2 to 4%. And then they also got a massive boost to their fortitude. Like, Newbie was talking about their fortitude went up. It went up 30%. So
a lot.
That's a huge boost. If on her, that would put her all the way up to 80% fortitude growth. That is a mage tank. And it also boosts their dexterity by a little bit. And then on the higher class, they also boosted up their chance for their secondary ability to deal extra damage, which is just ridiculous, and kept the fortitude buff on it.
So Surge is an interesting class. If I had to point at one to say it's the supporty add-up, it's this one.
Yes.
Mainly because they get the extended range chains.
Yeah, they really just need to say chain +2, please.
Yeah, that's really the big thing I would say, is that chain has to be +2 on this one, and +1 on the next one, because chain 2 ain't great. Chain 2 still puts you in danger range of a lot of things.
No, this does have range 3 chain, and they needed to tell you that on the skills that it says +2.
Is this range 3?
It is. It just didn't pop up that often. Yeah,
because
but it just says increases the range of chain. If you just say it's +2.
All the other ones say +1 or +2. Yeah, why did they do that anyway?
I don't know.
I don't even remember what Eye of the Storm does because it doesn't matter to me.
I think it's a crit thing.
Probably.
I think that's why you put Elias in the class, because it had a lot of just stuff that worked with how he do.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that it's another class that's the other class that's lightning based, which is nice because again there aren't many classes that do lightning type damage.
And also the if you go canon, the final upgrade is mounted, which means it has a lot of movement.
Yeah, you get to ride on the back of a dragon.
Yep. All in all, this class it's not outstanding. It doesn't shine, but it is. This is a class with a salary and a job.
Yes.
Referee. I can't remember if this got any buffs. I want to say
it got a lot of buffs, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, it also got buffs, but it also got a minor nerf at the same time.
Yeah, its speed went down.
Yeah. They wanted to make this class into kind of a weird off-tank because it's another one of those classes that has a drain mechanic on it. So they boosted the Reverie's strength, defense, and HP growths by 10% across the board, and lowered its speed growth by 5%.
Not a fortitude tank, which is a big thing about it.
No,
but
it's a physical tank.
Now way more of a physical tank. I found it hard to use, and maybe just the person I put into it was bad for that class. It felt like she was supposed to be that class because she's wearing armor.
I know. I really need to do a run through this game like a year from now when I'm not kind of burnt out on it because I played it too much. of just making people be whatever classes they look like based on their art and seeing how that goes.
Yeah. But it's fine in the long run. It's one of the things of like Blaze and Gale, we'll get to Gale in a second, are so like out there as just good adept classes that Surge and Reverie are very hard sells.
Surge is a much better sell now because you get experience for using your lockdowns, your chain.
Reverie is just weird. I like what the final with the second upgrade does, which is it's one of the two classes that give you both magic and physical attack. So it lets you crack open a lot of different enemies. But Reverie is a really rough place. There's a lot of classes that have a very rough middle.
I really think that the biggest issue I have with Reverie is that their dexterity is bad.
Yes.
They need to have a higher accuracy so that I don't feel like I'm locked into using the accuracy weapon on the hammer. Because I just don't have an opportunity to use anything else.
Accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, the accuracy weapon on the hammer is pretty good. I mean, you get into the higher level stuff, but they're heavy, and that can be a real issue. I want to be able to use another hammer besides the heavier things on a speedier unit.
On a class that's already very slow.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, if we're looking, I shouldn't say speedier unit. Bianca's she's fast. That's what she does.
Yeah. And then there's the problem.
Oh, man, this class.
The class that if you go canon just has 3 moves that are 20% chance to deal more damage, and then
it's not 20%, it's
33% chance to do more damage, and then the other one that is 15% chance to take another turn.
Yeah.
Gale is very simple. It's I'll stab you and then you die and nothing else, but it does that very well.
It does have a couple drawbacks to it. The big thing about the Gale class is that you can't put it on a spot to like hold a point and expect that it'll always do it because the damage it puts out is so variable. Sometimes it'll obliterate a unit and when you don't want something to die because you need an enemy to run into a location and stop. Or it can set up the conga line of death where they just keep killing over and over and over again. Most of the time they're going to dodge the counterattack from the opponent, but enough hits might come through that they just fall over from killing too many people.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, hey, it doesn't seem like that big of an issue, but there were a couple times on hard mode where I watched Bianca almost die going from 100 to 0 because she just kept killing things.
Yep.
It's still a broken class, though. It's way too good. The Gale class is way too good.
I think we have, at this point...
We need to go over the Warrior class?
Yeah, which we will do at the start of a map. There's a very distinct part where we can...
When we get to Benji.
Yeah, when we get to Benji.
And I think that's all of them.
Yes. This map's fine. It's very simple. There's nothing special going on here. But
there's a hidden Chivo on it. Other than that, it's fine.
There's a hidden Chivo on this map?
Yeah, if you beat it within 6 turns, you get a Chivo.
Oh, hey. Go figure. Aside from that, there's nothing really crazy. It's just go do fight, which is fine because sometimes you just need a go do fight. The one thing that I will say is that everybody in this central part on, fight start do kind of rush you down, and that can be a bit much.
Yeah, everyone from the right side of the map rushes you. The people on the left side, I don't think they move towards you unless you're in their range, but you start within the range of a bunch of them that you might not realize you need to get out of their range unless you want to get dogpiled.
Yeah. Anywho, not much more to say about it. It's fairly simple.
It's also, I mean, this map's mostly set up just to be a plot point. You meet Alexa, you meet a lot of the problems that are happening in the realm and what have you. But it isn't that hard of a map. It's just there to... also, I think this map's a good map to show off, like, you're probably getting to your next tier of classes, so here's a map, just fiddle with them and figure out how they work.
Yep. Okay. So, I'm not going to go through, unfortunately, all the classes here, but we can easily talk about them because we know them at this point. So Knight, is Jeff of the warrior classes. Champion, though. Champion.
We'll see Champion in action here in a bit. Well, towards the end of the video,
but
they definitely made a lot of changes to the Knight class in between the patch you were on and the patch that I played on hard mode.
Yes. Knight was a very rough middle class. It didn't stand out in any way and actually failed in a lot of ways. They buffed a lot of its weaknesses, making it better. Champion has a very neat gimmick of does not double, but adds its speed, its true speed, ×3 to its power, which is a lot.
It's way too much.
It was originally, I think, just adds its true speed to its power, and then they made it ×3, and that is way too good.
Which is fun, because in the patch notes it said 2.5, and then when we were playing with it, you're like, wait a minute, why does it say ×3? Oh no. You wouldn't think that'd be enough of a boost, but that's a huge boost. But to mention what Newbie was talking about with the changes to the Knight class, they boosted its HP based on its passive ability, which is what's it called, Sturdy?
Yeah.
It's Sturdy, which it made it so it's 35% boost to its HP as opposed to 20. And they boosted its strength and mastery stuff. So at this point, when it hits, if it's hitting enemies that are weak to slashing type, it's going to cut right through them.
Barbarian it's Berserker, mainly because, Class 2 is also called Berserker, but it's high strength, high speed, maybe high defense, I don't know, I can't remember.
Reasonable defense, actually.
Reasonable defense. Decent HP, that's it. It hits. Has this thing of, like, danger mode, the lower HP it has, more damage it deals, and the lower HP you are, the more damage it deals, or has chance to double. It's fine.
That's on the higher classes. The base level Barbarian, the big thing that they have is that one of their abilities, it's Savage, now ignores half of the opponent's defense.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yep. Defender is Knight. It's meant to stand on the front line and take hits. This one, though, Champion, no, not Champion, Sentinel, gets a passive of adds portion of its defenses to neighboring allies, which does a lot.
What's up?
I think it'll be fine for what we're doing, but hey, don't worry about it.
Having some fun connection times?
I'm having connection times.
Yay!
Luckily, for what we are doing, it won't matter too much. Anyway, let us continue.
Yeah. One thing we should point out about Defender, just because it's Benji in specific, they boosted the Defender's defense growth on the recent patch, but lowered its fortitude. But Benji, being Benji, got a boost to his fortitude that exactly canceled that out, so if you just want to keep him as a Defender, he does just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've got the last class.
Dragoon is a really neat class.
Man, it's weird.
In that it gains a 4% crit on each movement it moves. It has 7 movement, I think. So it can gain at max 28% crit chance, just flat by moving. It combos very well with one particular relic, which they have nerfed because it extremely needed to be nerfed.
Still too broken.
Yeah. Excuse me. And Dragon Knight is a class built around the fact that it's now a dragon. It's the other class that gets combo physical and magic.
Yeah. Which is really good.
I think the Dragoon and the Dragon Knight are good. I don't think they're absolutely broken anymore now that that relic has been fixed.
No, that relic hasn't been fixed. It's still too good.
Fair.
The problem that happened with that relic, we'll talk about a little bit more when it pops up, but the idea of the relic was that it flipped your critical hit rate and your power. The problem is, the way they fixed it is that now 50% of each is added to the other, so it's tried to equalize it out and lower the overall crazy damage threshold. It just made it so now instead of always one-shotting, there's a good chance you're going to crit, but you still might just double tap and kill them anyway because the Dragoon's pretty speedy. So the Dragoon class You make one, and you give them the relic, and then you forget about it, because then you have a monster unit.
Yep.
Or you can just not worry about it and make one of the later 2 knights, or warrior types, into a dragoon, and you'll have the relic by that point anyway.
Yes.
I don't like the base dragoon. I think it still needs to be worked with, but I have that opinion about a lot of classes in this game that are built on critical hits.
Yep. This map...
Oh, it's the Aqueduct map.
Yeah. Alright, now video may be choppy for those viewing. I apologize. But... not really too much to say about this one. It's a neat one in that your deployment can be quite variable, mattering where you put people. You can choose to deploy people alone, such as I did down here, because it's hilarious. Or you can put everybody up. And the whole gimmick of this map is to go around and kill the dudes that are breaking the aqueduct. Which is a neat gimmick. I actually really like the gimmick of this map.
Yeah, you can attack from any different angle you want to, but you're always going to be dealing with a couple of boys as you're going through. And you are on a time limit, but the time limit's pretty darn generous. Mostly on this map, it's really just... This is when you're really going to start running into enemies that can, if you're not paying attention, obliterate one of your units if they are attacking against weaknesses and what have you.
Yeah, this is where you really have to start paying attention.
I think you actually lost someone. This is the first map you had someone go down and you just didn't reset. I think Elias dropped to a mage in the center.
Maybe.
Mainly because I don't see him right now.
Yeah. We're going to start moving through these maps a little bit faster now that we don't have to do, like, the class breakdowns.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, we're just having fun going through that stuff. Here's Caius. He's great.
Yep. This map, my only complaint with it is there should have been constant reinforcements from the top of the map.
Or more people you have to kill or something, because after you deal with the initial rush, you only have like 3 or 4 people, because the gimmick of the map is you have to kill 30 people. But it does. I'm never feeling pressured on this map.
Yeah. They're just always kind of there. You feel pressured at the start, and also the thing is I can't figure out if I'm gonna find it exactly. Okay, so from here. Yeah, right here. Oh no, we're surrounded after you depopulate the map.
Yeah, there's barely anyone left on the map after you've killed 30 people. There should, like Newbie said, more and more guys should be showing up. This is... You stuck your head into the worst spot possible, and now you're going to pay. You put your finger in the, into the, bear... no, you punched the bear in the mouth, which is really what you should have done.
Yeah.
And that means the bear is going to try to kill you.
That's my really only big complaint. It's mainly a story-based thing. That's about it. Is this the temple? Yes, this is where you get Helena, who is great. I love Helena so much.
Helena is actually the person I made into a barbarian, and she never looked back. I think Helena is one of the best barbarians in the game, because she has the right setup to be a mage killer based on her growths, but an axe is actually very good at killing mages because of their how good it is against Runecloak.
Yep. Deployment of this map is interesting. Deploying 4 corners, have to deal with different enemy types to move towards the center. I think every enemy on this map is an adept.
The vast majority, if not all of them.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting dynamic on this map. Again, I like this map. This map's good.
This is also where we meet Corvin.
Yes, Corvin, who was good.
Mm-hmm. You made him a thief. He was a good thief.
He was a fantastic thief.
Here we go. This map.
This map is also fine. This is what the one map should have felt like.
Yes.
You are in the center of this map, and you are dealing with a lot happening, and you need to just get by. It is very rough. You do what you can. This is also...
You're introduced to your first mega tank in Helena, or not Helena, Vesta.
Yeah, so let's talk... this is where we will briefly talk about Vesta. We're not going to dump into character design too much, because I think the character design in this game is mostly good. I will say this, and this is the nicest way I can say this. Vesta's character design is a trash pile.
Yeah, I think she needs a redesign across the board.
100%. Like, I've seen Sloane's beta design, and it's not as bad as Sloane's beta design. It is almost as bad. Mainly because it doesn't make any sense.
Her whole design just doesn't make sense. We're not going to, again, we like to say we're not character designers, but her armor doesn't work. Her basic, like, physique doesn't work for who she's supposed to be. They just need to really rework Vesta to make her seem more like what she's supposed to be, which is a frontline paladin-esque character.
Not even like a chainmail undershirt. Like, she should just be wearing a full plate of armor. She shouldn't have a boob window.
And just random pieces of armor that are stuck on that have no way of attaching to where they are. Also, like what I was pointing out, look at her forearms. That's with plate armor on top of it. She's too skinny. She's
a twig. I don't mind the frills. Those are fine. That gives it a nice look, but it just doesn't make any sense, such as, what are you wearing? You're just wearing something around your collar here?
There's no like cloth or anything, so that's straight metal on skin. That's terrible. It doesn't work. She needs, like, her whole design needs to get changed.
Yes. And now we have reached unstable.
Oh, or is it that bad?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to end the side stream.
Okay, go for it. The ruffles can be fine. The ruffles with what she's wearing doesn't make sense, because it's not like the ruffles are an undershirt that she's wearing. It's just pieces that are attached to the armor. Like, there's no cohesion to her, anything from the waist up on her. And that, again, that's probably the last thing we're going to talk about with design on her, because it's just...
Anywho, I'm going to continue on. Amidst the frame drops, why did this have to happen? Anywho, yes, this map is fine as a defensive map. It's, again, choose who is coming from which direction, defend accordingly. There's mages down here. It's fine. Like, I put Brooke here, and she took care of this whole northern part by herself. Yeah. You should be able to do this in patch 1.5. I don't know.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
She did fine. It was a little spooky because there are 2 acolytes up there, but as soon as she killed the acolytes, she didn't get touched.
Okay. But that is more or less what this map is. You do actually have to do the big defend, so this map does take a while. But aside from that, it's not too bad. Moving on to video 4.
While you're doing that, I do want to mention that this is the first map I had a chance to use Arima with his new mage tank setup. He did a phenomenal job. The first time through the map, he was a liability, because if he missed with his attacks, he would die on the next round. This one, even if he missed, he could take 3 or 4 mage attacks before falling over, so he was just fine.
Anywho. Next map is... the Big War. This map is kind of alright. It's one of those maps where the first turn is maybe a bit too deadly. And it is also, I think, the first map where, oh boy, archers are a problem, huh?
Yeah, there are a lot of archers on this map, just all over the place. In fact, there's a tier 3 archer right there.
Yep. It is the map of, you kind of have to alpha strike archers. You can't let them live for any reason.
There are very few units on your team that can reliably take 2 archers on at the same time and not be at risk of dying based on critical hits or just getting double tapped or what have you. So
this is including, like, some of the tanks can't take hits from archers. Aside from that, the map is mostly fine, and the whole sort of split your team up aspect, as we have seen in a couple of these. They want you to make a team and utilize both aspects of them. So it's mostly fine. Not too much need to be said about this one.
No.
Ship. Ship is, again, another perfectly prominent map. I really have no arguments against Ship. I like the whole idea of having to tank the hits coming.
Yes.
But this is something the game should have, in dialogue, expressed. It's another one of those things of, you can mouse over this, and the game will tell you. It'll be like, take damage, or the boat takes damage, and you go, ah, mechanic.
It really should be someone. We don't have time to put it out properly. Someone just needs to jump on that fire and put it out. It might burn you a little bit, but it's better than the ship burning down.
Yes. And then I'd be perfectly fine with this map. It would work 100%. It's just that I didn't realize what this mechanic was, and just one line of dialogue is really all it needs. Aside from that, the guys coming in from the side, I kind of like, you use mages or whatever, witch hunter, to deal with them. It works.
Pretty much any of your magic classes will do just fine against the Thunder Lords. That's what they're called. They're Thunder Lords.
One second, I just want to check something real quick.
Sure. Oh, for the people talking about Bianca's armor is, unfortunately, some parts of it are flesh colored. It's just they needed to change the tint on a little bit so it didn't look like. Yeah. No, this is actually a real thing. Most of her armor that she's wearing is actually just, it looks like her skin tone.
Okay.
Not all of it, but a lot of it.
Anyway, not much more to say about this map. It's perfectly serviceable.
This is a good cooldown map after the plot that happened on the previous map. Also, we're dealing with Irving, who lost his hair color.
What? Okay, let's talk about the beginning of the downward spiral. This map is bad.
Man, I wanted to like this map so much, but the second time through was just so bad.
You are... again, it's going to be difficult to find an exact moment, but let's see if I can tab around a little bit. Okay, this might be the best I'm going to grab right here. You are required to walk down this river to get past this. The river either halves or even more so reduces your movement, which just sort of makes this a slog to walk through. It's not hard, it just takes forever, and it's not interesting. You just move slowly through the water, and then they put archers here who are just irritating. You end up just pulling this group and then backing up and then slowly pulling them in and then killing the archers and then moving forward. It just slows everything down.
Yeah.
In a way that...
The game does try to help out a little bit by giving you 3 new characters on this map to help with just pushing through. Doesn't matter, though, because it's 3 more people you have to push through this stupid map.
Also, this is maybe the point in the game where my nature of rotating all the characters out was starting to bite me in the butt, but, I will admit that...
Even when I was going through, man, I was having issues on this map just because it was too slow. It just... The map is too slow.
Anywho, as with a lot of the other ones, that's my main complaint about this map. Aside from that, I don't hate some of the other things that this map did, which was just, introducing you to some new units as enemy units and forcing you to deal with them. But, I sent this group down the water, and it took them forever to get down there. It was not fun the entire time. Not bad.
It wouldn't take too much to fix this map. Most of it would probably just be making the water oh boy.
So I'm going to point out that this map starts at right here. We are at 2:25 in the video.
Mm-hmm.
This video ends at 4:43.
Yep.
this map has a lot of problems in that there's a lot of extremely tanky units on this map. 2 ways to go with a middle part that exists. And you go through the whole thing, dealing with all these tanky units. I lost multiple units on this map just because tanky units.
It's just too big of a map. So if you would hear me here and go to the bottom of the map, you see that little pathway that has one set of traps that's in the dead center of the map?
This?
Yeah, that one little trap. Everything from that part down. No, not the middle pathway. I mean at the actual bottom section of the map that has one little like spike trap that's in between 2 little columns.
Yeah, I might have to go this right here.
Wait a couple seconds for the video to get there. Yes, it's right below where Sloan is. Yes, that spot right there. From that part of the map down, they could cut all of that off the map and they would lose nothing.
Yeah.
It would shorten the map up, make it so that you just start in the center section, you have to split both ways to go, and you don't have 4 turns to walk up to that center section, and then the gimmick at the end of the map where you have to walk beyond it to get out. It's too big of a map.
So let's talk about the gimmick at the end of the map, because I want to talk about the gimmick at the end of the map. This is bad. Yes. I don't like this at all. I don't think it adds anything to the map.
The map could have just ended as soon as you got it.
It doesn't add anything to the map, and it's a gotcha, because you can easily get there without opening up the 2 side paths, and then you got to go the long way, and that's it. The long way, I don't know, is even an option.
No, I did it. You can.
Okay.
Because I didn't open up the center path when I did it. I didn't bother because I thought, oh, whatever. I'm just going to grab the thing and that'll be on the map. And then the thing happened and I went, oh, shit.
But then, like, the long way just makes the map take longer.
Yes, which is already a problem.
And then the enemies that all spawn are multiple horsemen that will rush you down and you don't have the area. I do not like this part of the map at all.
The thing at the end was unnecessary. You could have been just, you grab it and then you go straight to a cutscene with your characters going, is that gas? Oh shit, we should probably run. You don't need to, this part at the end is not necessary.
Wait, hold up, the chat is saying something. Does Irving getting his hair animated out actually change something mechanically?
No, but people are saying it should.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, because his base ability is Born Leader, where he gives everyone a little bit of experience when he kills somebody. Everyone around him a little bit of experience. You could have changed it to something else. By the way, we'll talk about Irving's persona change here later on, but oh god.
Anyway,
that could have been better.
Next map. And the continuing of almost good ideas executed hilariously bad. Okay, let's talk about the mirror fight.
I actually don't think it's the worst thing. I just think it could have been done better.
Here's the main thing I don't like about the mirror fight. I like the idea of, you have created a machine to thrash your own ass. Which is like,
yes.
Yeah, okay, that's fun. I like that as a gimmick. So, this machine can thrash my ass very well. And there is no easy way to get through this map without somebody dropping. It is quite hard, because if you take your strong units to try and finish the map quickly, then you're up against your strong units. If you take your weak units to try and make the enemy team weak, then you have bad units.
What I found going through the map is, because I uploaded 3 or 4 times just because I wanted to make sure on this, the enemy placement is variable. And they'll randomly be put in spots because they can't just show you a mirror on the other side of where your people are. They're on the other, their exact opposites are on the other side. They're placed in random positions, and that means that you can't plan of, okay, I put all my plate users over here, so I know that when I start the map, I'll just have my mages rush over there to murder them. No. It's going to be random each time. You can't plan for whatever you're going to deal with.
Exactly.
And that's a problem.
There's nothing that you can really plan for in this map, except who you bring. That's it.
Yes.
And that's the problem, because if it was just no permadeath in this game, it'd be fine. Oh no, they went down, whatever, we got through it. It's the fact that losing a unit makes them lose stats. If they had taken that penalty away from this map would be perfect. I would actually really like this map. It's the fact that it is so easy to lose somebody, and losing somebody is a permanent stat down, and there's no real way to plan around that on this map. Like, I think I lost somebody on the winning run, like, right at the end to just somebody sprinting across the battlefield and stabbing them.
Yeah. I think on my run, I'd lost someone, but it was a physical unit losing a point in magic, and I went, whatever, I got lucky, and just kept going.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're probably going to lose someone, and that's frustrating.
That is what I think is bad about this map.
Or you can do what I suggested when you first got to the first time as a joke, and just send one person in, but then you're denying yourself resources, and that's a problem.
Yeah. This map has problems.
I really like the idea of the map. Just a little bit better execution.
I should really be keeping this passive going way more. Passive animation. Okay, let's talk about
we get Faust.
Let's talk about the map that has problems, but they're easily fixed.
Yes.
I think the Dragon is a really neat map.
Yes.
The problem is the game does not explain what the Dragon's gimmick is at all. And
this is another thing that they could have fixed by dialogue before the map started.
Yes, just have people be like, if you attack from the front, you get the claws. If you attack from the back, you get the tail. But watch out for the fire breath. And
like, yeah, saying, what if I attack it head on? You'll get hit by the fire. But I can attack from the side. It's got razor sharp claws. Blah 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 blah. And watch out for its tail from behind. That could punch right through, or that could crush you even like a tin can, even if you're in plate. Like, there's a lot of different ways they could do it a lot better than how Newbie and I tried to describe it. But
we're not game designers.
They didn't.
It's just a thought that we have.
Yeah.
And because of that, it took me literally half of the map to figure out what the gimmick was. And I had a character or two drop in the process of me trying to figure out what the gimmick was. And that's annoying when it's just like, oh, I lost people because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Also, I think Faust is a required bring on this map.
Yes, he is.
Which is really rude.
Oh no, if you put him in the right spot so he doesn't get hit by the fire breath, he's fine.
But that's what I meant. Like, he's a required bring, and the game doesn't explain the mechanic, which means that he could just get one-shotted.
If you make him an acolyte, which, I mean, you should make him an acolyte. He's a really good acolyte. But, yeah, there were some situations that were not the best. I think they actually did a better job in the 1.5. I think they changed how the dragon works a little bit so that it can't one-shot Faust if you make him an acolyte. It can almost do it, but not quite.
Yeah. Other problems that happened with the 1.5 patch is that they did break a lot of the bosses.
Yes, not the dragon. Dragon's fine.
Dragon's fine.
Most of the character classes got a little busted.
They just didn't, which they will probably, it's probably a bug and they will fix, but like,
yes,
the numbers are bad and don't work at all.
They forgot to change how the accuracy and dodge mechanics work for the bosses, so a lot of the bosses will never dodge and will also never hit you.
Yeah. That aside, if you had given that bit of explanation for the dragon, I think the dragon boss is actually kind of neat.
Yep. Also, they give you something right before this that gives you a massive resistance to fire for one character, one of the aspects.
Which, that got buffed.
Yeah, that got buffed to 80%. I actually just put someone right in front of the dragon the whole time and just said, have at it. And they had 80% fire resistance and did not care.
Yep. Anyway, moving on to the next video. Okay, let's talk about the map. No, this isn't yet the map that redeems
yet.
this.
We're getting close.
We're getting close. This map
is rough.
This map is the penultimate of archers are a problem.
And they're everywhere.
They're not everywhere.
There are too many archers on this map.
A lot of them you can deal with. The problem are these three right at the start. Again, I put tanks here. And 3 archers walked up and killed the tank.
Yeah.
You can't plan for that.
I think I ended up killing that one archer from across the wall and then working around to kill the other 2. But even then, I had to restart the map a couple times.
You have
because
to kill
it was too much.
And that's the main complaint of this map. Aside from that, like, once you get past this first turn, I think this map is perfectly fine.
It's fine. There's a lot of archers around. You got to keep on your toes, but man,
yeah. The main problem with this map, I feel, stems from the problem of archers are a problem. I think this map is the whole video.
No. It might be.
Okay, no. The second
next
problem.
map shows up too.
Yeah, the second problem happens in this video.
Oh, yeah. Also, side characters, whatever. This is where you see some of our last characters. Actually, this is Rose and Alexa.
Yeah.
Alexa, still a really good Dragoon. Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, no, I'm just watching Marin almost get murdered by
I forgot you are in the past. Thankfully, this was when we definitely became into, like, the power team of Lincoln and Vesta.
Yep. What if we just had tanks on the front line?
Wait, is this when she went down? No, because she did not kill that guy. Yeah, she ended up being alright. But yeah, the back half of this map is rough because there's 50,000 archers. But, you get by. This map might have just been when I finally hit the point of,
yes.
I'm kind of very underleveled.
There are still a lot of very powerful units on this map. On hard mode, this map was rough. I nearly lost a bunch of people throughout the whole map.
I think on normal mode, even with underleveled units now, because they changed the dodge and accuracy calculations, this map will not be as bad, because the main thing was, like, these guys on the right side here, and anytime dodgy units, which there's a lot of zones with dodgy units.
Oh, those guys are still incredibly hard to hit.
Yeah, but they're not one.
Yeah. Isn't Pierce locked to at most 20% damage loss? It might even be like a 10%. Pierce is really good at murdering things.
Nothing. Okay, so that is one thing I'll say about the armored stuff, which I guess they made it so that you're never, like, at quite a deficit, because it would hit you as well. Being defensive against a thing does not give you as much of a benefit as you get for being effective against something.
Yes. Like a lot of the effective things can get up to 40% boost, and that is a lot of damage.
The biggest, I think, minus a defensive against is like 10 or 15. Mm-hmm. Like 20, no, the 20 minus does not exist, actually. I think there might be a 15. I don't think there is, actually.
Here, I'll pull up the thing while we're going through.
But this may have just been I was massively underleveled, and there was not a lot of places to actually build walls and what have you, so it became a lot of very, very finicky. Yeah, positive effectiveness is also affected by mastery, which there's no way to buff negative effectiveness. So again,
yeah. So you were right, by the way. There's for the disadvantages, there's 5% and 10%. That's it.
Yeah. So it's again a hard day out there for your tanks. We also got Liberty on this map. Great character. Did not use her much, but great character.
Whatever, she's fine. That's actually something I want to mention just because we got to this map. I'd really like for this game to include not only the random system, which is phenomenal. I love that they have the random recruitment playstyle for this game. If they could include another one, which is just reverse recruitment order, I'd love it. Because there are a lot of characters. There is just a straight reverse one?
I think there is. I could be wrong.
Oh. If there is, then I am so sorry for bringing that up and thinking that it was something they need to add in. But I would love that if that was an option, because there are a lot of characters later on that I didn't use because I already had an established team.
Yeah, the Emblem problem.
I did on my second run through use a couple people later on, but not everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I used Maeve, but Maeve is amazing.
Anyway, this is mainly a long map for me because I was a bit underleveled, rotating everybody constantly.
It did show you how awesome Thaniel is, though.
Thaniel is fantastic. I know we say it wrong. That's Thaniel.
Thaniel also, oh man, his passive's a bit too good.
His passive's a bit too good.
I have a glass cannon, but not really.
Not much more to say about this map. Let's slide on into the next one.
But I don't want to talk about the next map.
The next map is trash. I minimized the video.
I've been trying to be positive about a lot of the maps in this game. This next map actually, it still infuriates me.
Surrounded. I found out that there's a enemy turn skip button because of this map.
This map is just you and dead center of the map, almost no cover, and swarms of enemies that rush you.
Also, yes, we were told by somebody in the chat at a time, I think when we had cleared this map, that if everybody leaves and you leave one person behind... thank you for the host. Who was that? Oh, Andy, hello. Welcome everybody from Andy. I am having a bit of an internet problem right now, so the stream may be a little choppy, but our voices should be coming through clear enough, and we're mainly doing a retrospective on Dark Deity here. So I guess if you don't want spoilers, tag out. But
right now, spoilers, get the hell out.
I said tag out. I said it nicely.
I won't.
Mainly, we have approached the worst map in the game. You get rushed down by numerous level 30 units when you maybe don't have level 30 units yet.
Extremely don't.
Hey, they also give no experience. So fighting on this map is entirely worthless.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the enemies in this map give sharply reduced experience. I think they want to give really the incentive of, you should be running now. Yeah, as pointed out, doesn't matter which way you break, one side will catch up to you if you're trying to just run away, because your units are only moving, like some of your units are only going to be moving 5 or 6 spaces. Both sides have a group of units that can move 8 spaces because they are
I'm trying to find the exact moment of reminder. These are level 20 something. Let me find the actual. A lot of your
people like level 25, 28 at this point.
Yeah, 25
Alexa, there's 26.
Here. So let's find the actual kill shot here. So not there. How hard it is to kill enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I eventually, when I redid this map, I went through with just the best units because it didn't matter.
Yes. What was the point? What was the point?
Just gonna point this out again. "12 experience for killing a unit that is 5+ levels higher than me."
And I would point out that on other maps, you'd be getting 50-something experience for doing that.
It's so absolute garbage. This map is the worst map in the game.
Also, this map isn't super necessary with how they have it set up in the plot as well, so the whole thing just feels tacked on and needless.
Yeah, let's just look at the cutscene before the map. Here we go. Here we are on our stand with many people around us and surrounded by buildings. Like, literally, there's buildings right fucking there. And, let's get to the map of wide open, empty fucking field. This is so bad.
It's just frustrating. I understand what the group thing is going. I don't want to say like. I understand what they're going for is that you've incurred the wrath of the entire garrison. They are rushing you. You need to get out. But it could have been played so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in some ways, this could have been a defense map where you have one spot you have to hold and they just keep coming and coming and coming because someone's going to open the door that you can get out a back way or something. Like, there are a lot of ways they could have done this, but it just doesn't work.
Anyway.
Hey, we're on the mountain.
Yes. So this is a neat map. If you bring Irving, he immediately bum rushes the boss. The boss will never attack Irving. So that's fine. And you split your teams up, or you can not split your teams up, or you can warp people over to the other side. It's quite hilarious. But there's enemies all around on the map. And if you kill an enemy, the boss takes damage.
Mm-hmm. And enemies on the left side are magic users. Enemies on the right side are physical type units, so you can send your people accordingly.
Yes. Now, I was underleveled for this, and that definitely paints an opinion. I was massively taking entirely too much damage and everything. Again, I thrashed my own ass with this. And mainly, I was even more underleveled because the last couple of maps were kind of really rough for trying to gain levels. So it just didn't shake out very well, and that's why I ended up so underleveled. On top of the, rotating people out.
I actually think this map is fine.
Yeah, this map's fine. I created my own problems for it. On the whole, this map is 100% fine. So I think we can just move on from there.
Yeah. I really think, by the way, the previous map would have been better if it had been you get swarmed by undead and you go, oh shit, there's an undead, we should probably take care of that, and then you follow them back to here. But hey, that's just me.
The map, that's good. Oh, woo. Map that's split off by a bunch of different chambers. When you step on a tile, you go to the next one, and then you can move again. And you can kind of just jump from map to map, from room to room to room to room to room. And you can also just, like, stick people in a room, and they're kind of by themselves, and they can handle them. This is a really cool map. This is where...
I'd like to point out that you don't lose movement going through the jumps. In fact, you get all your movement back. So, yeah, this is just a map to have fun on. Run around. Be goofy.
Yep. This is actually where I started catching up, and the game started becoming fun again. Not a lot more to talk about than that. This map's fine. It definitely went a little long because we did farm a bit at the end.
Worth it.
So, yeah, one map video. This map, the bridge. The bridge is also neat. So the entire gimmick of the bridge is you have a team on one side that is pushing towards the boss. Trying to find the... There we go. And you have a team on the other side that has to kill this endless... the supply of units. As I am at 0 kilobytes. Upload. I'm going to check my upload speed after this.
Yeah. You want to go do that right now real quick?
One moment. Can't believe we waited to do this.
Honestly, I'm fine with it happening here rather than start of another game. Because that would really kill the momentum of a new game. I do agree with Newbie though. I think this is a good map.
Well, this is definitely a more personal problem. This is something I'll have to call them afterwards. So, let's press on.
Okay.
At the very least, this will be fine when uploaded to YouTube. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while. Anywho. Yeah, that's fine. I like the defense in the back. It's a pretty neat thing, and then your team is pushing forward. I did actually get this weird gimmick of enemies started running away from me at a point from the left side as if they were legitimately trying to retreat, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, I had that pop up too. It actually made one section. I This is one of the few times on hard mode where I lost more than like one person on a map, where the enemies that retreated started to turn around at the worst possible point, and I got hit by 6 or 7 people at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I also was playing a little fast and loose, though, because I wanted to finish the game because I was doing a fast run through thinking I had to be finished by last Thursday. And also, I just was kind of done with the game at that point.
Yep. Unfortunately, I had things happen.
No, it's fine. I'm not blaming you on that. That's my own dumb fault.
Moving ahead, the defense in the tree, the assault on the tree maps. This one is kind of cool in that you have the wizard that splits off, and you have the healers that are by him. So like, actually, the main objective is getting to each wizard and killing his healers, so that he doesn't keep topping himself off each turn. I actually really like this map a lot. This map's cool. The main problem of this map came from these guys up here. Were really annoying. The dodgy boys. Which again, maybe with 1.5, Chrome can answer yes or no.
Dodgy boys are still miserable.
Alright, well, you can't win them all.
I was really having an issue on a couple of these maps trying to tag some of these guys.
Yep. Luckily a illusionist can help you with that, but yeah. That said, I still think this map is rad. I really like the gimmick of this map. Mage tanks really shine in this one. Not much more to say other than that. This map is good. Period. Video 11 is the Jeff of maps. This map is really nothing special.
What is this again?
This is just assault the fort.
Right, assault the fort, where you say you have to get both of these cranks in order to open up the gates, where you really only have to get to one.
Yes. Again, nothing more to say about this one. This map is very...
There's so many fucking archers around the side again.
That is mainly, yes. So any complaints I would have about a map, including this one, is there's a lot of archers on this map. Archers are a problem. That's it. This is another one map video. Nothing else to state.
It's another one map video because of the next map.
Yes. Video 12 is the Assault on the King. Another perfectly cromulent map. There are some rude enemies on this map. They are mostly deal-withable. You don't really see too much. And that's really what it boils down to at the end of the game, is the middle maps of this game are really rough and have problems, and then the end maps are perfectly fine. They're very good. The main thing is the king is the fakest.
Now, I need to point this one out. When Newbie's fighting the king on this one, this is before the patch hit, so this is the king's actual numbers with how he's supposed to work out.
And that's with the unit that doesn't normally attack. And then Baby walks in. It's just like the king, you can just heal any damage that the king does. The king can't double. The king doesn't double. Period. But aside from that, this map's fine. And then the final video. This is post-patch. Patch has happened. I was very worried that I was going to fire this up and the game just wouldn't launch. So the first one is a neat sort of defensive map. You're defending up here from a rushing onslaught of many enemies. And down here they need to fight through a couple lines of men. And get to the boss at the end. Again, it's one of those maps that says like, yeah, this is fine. I have no complaints one way or another about this map. You can also just end it fast because there's really no items to get. All the guys here have like tier 1 tokens. You're not supposed to want to fight through all of the guys up here.
But you could.
You could, but you're not incentivized to. So you just kind of fight through the bottom, and this map, on a whole, took me about a half hour to finish.
Did any of my stuff come on through about the king on the previous one? Because Windows Update hit at the worst time.
No, it did not.
The real quick thing I want to say, it seemed like he was set up to be an artillery unit, but they didn't make him an artillery unit, so he doesn't do anything because of that. He's not dangerous at close range, and he's not going to be a problem to even your squishier units.
Yep. Map after this is another map that doesn't really have a gimmick to it. Just has you fighting pretty much every tier 3 unit in the game at least once, and then you fight the brother. So let's talk about the brother real quick.
This is after this. Now, note, this is when the patch happened.
Yes, which broke bosses, but oh right, he doesn't attack. So let me yes. So the brother, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This broke real bad.
Yes. His hit chance is not supposed to be 1%.
Yeah. And now, we've been saying a lot of, this map is fine, it's generic, it's fine, it's generic, nothing bad about it. Let's get to the boss of the game, which I actually think is really rad.
I like the boss of this. I'm getting a lot of Fire Emblem 10 vibes from the final boss of this game, and I that's not a bad thing.
So here's the boss. Well, first of all, this is gonna be really fuzzy because this does not like this bit rate at all, this background.
Nope.
But, you know, multiple characters get targeted for attacks. He does little AoEs around them, you know, deals damage, increased distance from the boss. So you want to stay close. He has 12 movement, but each of these stones, let's see if I can catch myself looking at these. Yes, there we go. Each of these stones give him a power.
Yes. So
your main goal of this map is to actually rush everybody to the crystals and destroy them, because you'll destroy things like his 12 movement, or lower his attack an obscene amount, like that kind of stuff, or turn off his map attacks.
Or even simple things like he has ones where it reduces your healing, so it makes it harder to keep up with the damage output he's like really bringing to the table.
This boss is really cool. I like what he does. Once you destroy the stones, he becomes a slog of HP to bust through, and really nothing else. But
yeah, he's got a bit too much HP, but I understand why they gave him a lot of HP, because they didn't want you to just try to rush him without dealing with the gimmick.
And the other problem is he's a mage, and he just is a unit at that point, so you can surround him with units and T-pose aggressively at him. He can't do anything about it. And
one thing we should mention, though, that's really cool about him, he always uses the magic that's best against your armor type.
Yes.
Which is cool, but yeah, Newbie nailed it on the head. If you box him in with 4 people, he's stuck. He can't go anywhere. The whole idea of this character is he's supposed to be trying to pick off your most vulnerable units every single time, and if you box him in with 4 people, he can't do that.
And that's really it. On the whole, like, a lot of the maps are good. The mid-game has some really bad maps all in a row, and I think that's the biggest detriment I can say. But then once you get past those, like, as soon as you hit the mountain map against the mage, you're back in good maps.
Yeah. And from then on, I mean, there might be a couple that aren't perfect, but they get the job done. It's fine. It's just, it really feels like the designers of this had a really good beginning and a really good end, and they got a little lost in the middle. And hey, it happens. I'm really excited to see the next game these people put together. It seems like it's going to be a blast. But the whole idea of Retrospective is we've got to point out the good and the bad.
The fact that this bug never got fixed over the 4 months I was playing this game rules. It's not even that bad. It's just a hilarious bug. And I think that's really it for a retrospective.
Yeah, we were going to go into characters and stuff, but I think we're probably going to skip that now due to unforeseen circumstances.
In which, really, every character is good. You build them different ways, but the character stuff is good.
It was just a chance for us to talk about characters we liked and such.
Yeah, I mainly wanted to sit down and talk about the maps. That was the point of this stream.
Yeah, and also we covered another thing we were going to go over with the characters by going through the maps by talking about all the different classes. So since we did that, we're good to go.
Yes. And yeah, that'll be it for this YouTube video. Hopefully I'll review the stream. It'll probably be extremely choppy, but if the audio is there, and it seems to be there because people haven't mentioned anything about the audio cutting out, I'll pass this along to the dev.
If not, we'll run it again.
That's right, baby! No.
Running it back.